I want to apologize to Penda Mbu, who was supposed to introduce the Vice Chancellors. We are not going to ask Penda to come up, but I'm going to invite Ebrima to introduce our Endnote speaker. Thank you, Ebrima.
Assalamu alaikum. Bonjour and good afternoon. Before I speak, I want to say something. Thank you, Brother Kwasi, for, and that's something is actually serious. That's something is that the person I am going to introduce is actually my boss. So it's important that you know that. Coumba Toure. Coumba is the chair of the Coumba is the board chair of TrustAfrica. So all the things you've seen happening over the last 3 days, she's been watching. She's been following very closely, and she was making sure that things are on track. Phoning, sending WhatsApp messages, and I don't even want to tell you sometimes at what times of the day. Coming to the office, it wasn't even enough just to call and send WhatsApp messages. Coming to the office regularly, trying to find out how are things going. Is everything okay? And and wouldn't even stop there. And seriously, it's just an indication of just how seriously she's taken her role as a board chair, and how good a board chair she has been and she is to TrustAfrica. And for that, we want to thank her sincerely. Coumba, I first met her actually many years ago, and it was through Akwasi and Aisha here. We were all, part of that community. Akwasi then was the fourth representative in Dakar, and so their house was one place where everybody would go to. It was open all the time, and that's where one day I got introduced to Coumba, and it has been going on since then. Right? Just one anecdote. At one point, I didn't see her for a couple of years, and then I knew she had written a book on children. And I said, but Coumba, it's been a long time. What has been happening? Where were you? What are you doing now? And she said, well, you remember that publisher who published my book? I said, yes. Well, he said, well, actually, I bought the publishing house, and I'm now doing it myself. So I said, wow, look, this is good. You miss somebody for a while, and when you see them, they actually have moved on and are doing great things. And that is the most pleasing thing anybody can have. But she's done a lot of things, a lot. I wouldn't try even to go through the CV or the bio in full. But the most recent thing Coumba was doing was serving as the co-coordinator of Africans Rising for Peace, Justice, and Dignity. The coordinator is right here with us, is Mohamed Lamin Serikan. So the two of them were the founding coordinators of Africans Rising. And in the 5 years they led the organization, they just built it up to become a huge movement that has hundreds of organizations, hundreds actually, literally hundreds, probably over 1,000 now, of all kinds, big, trade unions and other kinds of civil society organizations. And in that capacity, she really did a great job of building and co-building the movement, and bringing it to where it has arrived today. She's a writer and a storyteller, and you will get a sense of what a good storyteller she is. I think when she speaks, she has a way of bringing things out, that sort of touches you directly. We invited her to speak at the convening. Nana and I and our friends of Onion Action Fund organized in Naivasha earlier this year, and we asked her just to speak in the end how she just felt the whole experience, and it was great. She has written a lot of books, children's books, and she designs and produces a range of educational material and programs for children and young people. Books, clothes, games, through Fala Artist Collective and Production House. You know, when the groups going around, I don't want to make special publicity for one of them, but they're both great places to go to. Popungin is one, which is where she lives, and Joel and Fajut is the other one. And Joel and Fajut is where, Joel in particular is where the first president of the country was born. So there are great things to see in both places. But when you go to Popungin, you will see the kind of relationships she has with, you know, the artists and the women and the, you know, the young people of that community. She has a production house. Fala Artists is a collective and a production house. She has extensive experience in facilitating meetings, engaging young people, and designing and implementing evaluation programs, promoting peace and justice, especially for women. She's a certified coach and a strong public speaker. That you will have a demonstration of also in a little while. She has more than 20 years' experience working with organizations. She was the representative of Ashoka here in Senegal. Ashoka, Mark, I got to know around Ashoka. He was then a representative of Oxfam, but Ashok is, Yashika, his wife, was the Ashoka director then. And Coumba took over Ashoka following a number of other great people. And Ashoka is supporting social entrepreneurs globally, and they've actually identified, I don't know whether that could be called philanthropy, but identified, you know, social entrepreneurs doing great work and then really giving them the support and visibility they need, and that has transformed. And usually these people are people who have impact, large social impact. And she's also been part of the Institute for Popular Education in Mali, designing alternative education programs, and part of the 21st century youth leadership movement in Selma, Alabama, connecting Africans across Selma, Alabama. Just want to stop a minute on that. Selma, Alabama, of course, is remembered for being the place where that great march that Martin Luther King led, you know, it's a historic event. It was a historic event, and so every year there's a commemoration and celebration of that thing again, and Coumba is a regular participant. And Coumba has been, you know, involved in this connecting Africans across the continent and with the diaspora. She has also worked with Youth for Environment Sanity in California. She's a member of the African Feminist Forum, as well as the Perank Writers Cooperative. Perank was formed with the involvement of Akwasi and a number of people around. Natalia here is those who have been the supporters of Perank, co-founders and supporters of Perank from a very early age. And Perank is, you know, organized around Aikwe Arma. Aikwe Arma is one of the greatest artists, greatest writers, actually, of the world. I'm not talking about Africa. This is a writer of global fame who lives in Popungin, by the way, and who is still active writing books, and who's really a great Pan-Africanist. She is a member of the African Consultant International Board, and probably above all else, Coumba is a very proud mother and a sister to many people. I would say definitely to all of us here, but to people everywhere. Wherever you go with Coumba, you're actually surprised by the number of people who show up to say hello, to acknowledge the good that she has brought to their lives. So we really are very, very honored and very proud and very pleased that you are able to join us here today. She was away for the last 2 days leading a feminist institute in Dakar, which is why she came to the opening of the academic conference in Dakar and then was busy running that other institute and made sure that she was able to join us here for the closing and to deliver an Endnote speech. And I would like to invite all of us to listen very carefully to what he's going to tell us.
Thank you so much, Ibrahima, for such a generous and challenging introduction. I will say first, maa ngi nuyu ku nekk ci sa tur ak sa sant, because we are in Senegal. I'm greeting each of you in your own name. I got to say, the tur is your first name and your sant is your family name. And I like that greeting because really what it does is to say that I greet each of you as an individual, so in your own name, because I know, yes, you are part of institution, yes, you work somewhere, but you come here first as a human being, and you come here as someone who believes in something, so I greet you in your own right first. And the family name, we greet people, and for some of you who've been here in Senegal for a while, I'm sure you've seen people greet each other and repeat family name. You know, mine is Toure, and the other one is Sal, and I'll say Sal, and he say Toure, Sal, Toure, Sal, Toure. And you must be wondering, what is this, and why do people, you know, call on to each other's family name? And I learned that it is really...
J'ai appris que cela permet de convoquer quiconque à ce patronyme afin que l'on ne salue pas seulement la personne, mais tout ce que vous représentez, toutes les parties que vous représentez. Donc je vous salue. Je vous salue en Wolof. Cela veut dire que je vous salue individuellement, mais je veux vous saluer pour toutes les personnes que vous touchez, avec les personnes que vous représentez, que vous avez avec vous, la personne avec qui vous travaillez. Toutes ces personnes sont les bienvenues. Donc je vous remercie d'avoir fait le déplacement. Je l'ai dit parce que je l'ai déjà dit à l'ouverture. Après la Covid, on a compris que la présence humaine n'était pas une chose acquise. Il y a eu des moments où on était tous sur la plateforme Zoom, où on ne savait pas si on pouvait voyager, monter dans l'avion et se déplacer. Il est intéressant de se souvenir de cela, parce qu'on oublie vite. Lorsque les choses reprennent du mouvement, on ne se souvient plus de ce que l'on a vécu. Donc, j'ai beaucoup de gratitude, je ressens beaucoup de reconnaissance. Je veux prendre le temps pour vous remercier pour tous les pas que vous aurez faits pour être ici. Je remercie toutes les personnes qui ont travaillé avec TrustAfrica, avec CAPSI évidemment, avec l'école de commerce WITS, le réseau philanthropique de l'Afrique orientale, le Forum africain de la philanthropie et tous ceux dont les logos ne se trouvent pas sur papier, mais ont été les partenaires qui ont accompagné d'une manière ou d'une autre cette réunion. À eux tous et toutes, je dis merci. Ils m'ont dit de dire les mots de clôture et j'ai dit, mais pourquoi? Voyez-vous, au cours de la dernière semaine, j'ai été dans différents univers. Je viens de l'université d'été féministe de Dakar. 200 personnes, surtout des jeunes, surtout des femmes radicalement féministes y étaient. Et La conversation a été profonde, l'apprentissage riche. Il ne s'agissait pas seulement de discuter, d'organiser des panels. Évidemment, on a communiqué dans la tradition de la République féministe et je voudrais ici saluer la présidente de Urgent Action Fund for Women in Africa. C'est dans la tradition de la République féministe. Cela veut dire qu'au-delà de la discussion, il y a eu une attention particulière consacrée aux personnes, au bien-être de ces personnes, à leurs émotions, et on a donné toute la valeur de l'art dans la salle. On a discuté pour voir ce que l'on peut faire ensemble. Mais il y avait suffisamment également de liberté. Et quelqu'un pouvait se lever. Il y avait des représentants du gouvernement, des Nations Unies. Quelqu'un s'est levé et a posé la question. Est-ce que vous êtes d'accord avec ce qu'il a dit? Et le groupe a dit non. Et imaginez-vous que j'étais moi l'animatrice. Évidemment, je ne vais pas vous raconter le reste de l'histoire. Je voudrais tout simplement dire que c'était et c'est toujours un univers différent. Avant cela, je suis venu à Dakar, je venais de New York avec un groupe appelé Women Building Up. On parle de philanthropie. Je pense que c'est une expérience qui vaut le coup de s'arrêter. Voilà donc un groupe de femmes qui ont été emprisonnées surtout. Ce sont des femmes qui lancent cette initiative philanthropique et l'atout qu'elles ont est énorme parce que le point de départ est énorme, pas seulement en raison du volume d'argent obtenu, mais parce qu'il faut beaucoup d'énergie pour gérer cet argent. Ce sont des femmes qui sont formellement emprisonnées et qui finalement constituent le conseil d'administration d'une organisation qui commence. Elles ont un immeuble à New York, à Brooklyn, et gèrent 50 millions de dollars. Imaginez-vous la situation. Je parle de cette situation parce que ce que je veux demander et partager, c'est la question suivante. Est-ce que nous sommes disposés à mettre des ressources, de l'argent entre les mains de certaines personnes? Est-ce que nous avons confiance, les pauvres, lorsqu'ils ont en leur possession de l'argent? Est-ce qu'on fait confiance aux femmes pauvres rurales lorsqu'elles ont de l'argent? Ou est-ce que l'on pense seulement qu'elles méritent le microcrédit qu'elles doivent rembourser ou aller en prison si elles ne le remboursent pas? Évidemment, je voudrais défendre une cause. Vraiment la dire. J'écris et je publie des livres pour les enfants et évidemment, je suis tout à fait subjective dans mon propos. Ce continent est un continent d'enfants. Lorsque vous sortez dans les rues, il y a des endroits, en tout cas à Dakar ou à Popengui, il y a des endroits où si vous
through this huge percentage of our population. And I want to go beyond percentage when it comes to children. Because of course we know that it is in the early ages that and the inhumanity we witness most of the time later is something that is seeded very early. So this is, for me, a call. We look at our portfolios to look at where money is going and understand that investing in making sure that children are not only well-fed and have good health, but have the capital of love that will allow them to be fully human is something that I have to name. Of course, again, keeping on my subjectivity, I have to speak about the art. Yes, it might look like something on the side, on the margin. It might look like it's not urgent, it's not water. But the truth is that the biggest thirst, the biggest lack that we have today is about humanity and being human. And to me, that's what the art does cultivate. That we need in leadership, we need in our government, we need at the head of our philanthropies, people who have the sensitivity to hear and see, even when it's not literal, even if it's not said directly. I want to thank and second my sister, Natalia Kanem. As she spoke, I sat there and I was just like, you know, is there a place where we say, I second this? Is there a place where I can say yes? Every single thing she named and spoke about is something that I believe in, and I know even if it's uncomfortable for some of us, we deep inside of us know that we cannot do things half-ways. There is no half justice. There is no half justice. A human being is a human being. And being a feminist is nothing more than just the radical notion of, you know, that considering that women, poor people, people with different sexual orientation deserve just as much as any rich white man living in Europe or America to have mobility, to move as she wants, to have ownership of her body, and to have the opportunity to bring to the world what we know, what we think, and what we feel. I do not want to stand between you and food. I have many, many more things that I would want to advocate for. But I leave you with questions. What will we do now? What will we do now that is different from what we used to do? And I would like to give each of you a minute. You don't have to say it in the mic, but take the time to write it down. Is there something that you think you might be able to do differently or to push to be done differently in the institutions that you come from, so that we come together to the type of philanthropy that we've been talking about? Because we know there are many things and many areas of philanthropy. But what we are talking about is revolutionary, is transformative. It turns the world upside down. It speaks truth to power. It supports even those we don't always see sitting with us. I have so many stories of invisible philanthropy. We could spend the night here, but I will share one. One of the programs that I've been doing the past 12 years is called Invisible Giants. The idea is to celebrate women who do things in their communities. Nobody really knows them. They do it. In the past month, we celebrated 4 women actually in the village, Popengin Ndayan, Popengin Serer. And I can tell you, there is a rampant and invisible philanthropy going on, holding our societies that is completely under the radar. Kapsi, I believe we have a study there. I met women. I met a woman who sold her house to build an education center in Dayan, in the village in Dayan. You can come and see it. Now, when I say she sold her house, you have to go in the house that she lives in right now to understand the meaning of what it is for this woman to sold this other house to build that education center for children. I've met a woman who, if you go to Popengin, you will see a little shack on the side of the road where she sells breakfast, peanuts, and whatnot. When we do the research and ask about Invisible Giant, people pointed us to her and told us that because she's at that corner, which people use to go to this health center that the nuns run, and most of the people who go there is because they don't have money. They don't go to the hospital because the ticket at the hospital is too expensive. That so many people going to that health center who do not have transport back home or cannot buy their medicine. This is the main foundation that deals with that problem in that area. But you have to see the place from which she's selling things, the amount of money she has, and where she lives, to be able to measure what we receive as information in terms of the philanthropy she does. I think we have a subject. The Lebu people in the same village of Ndaya, they tell me that every first Wednesday of the month, all of the people who went, these are people who live off fishing. They have individual boats, family boats. Every first Wednesday of the month, anybody who fish anything, that fish is sold and that money is managed. That is the money that is used to build community things. These are things happening. Nobody funds them. Nobody put a regulatory about who's managing the money and where it's going. Everybody knows exactly in that village when and where this money should be spent. We have work to do to unearth the potential of our people in giving, and really giving with dignity, giving without logo, giving without taking pictures, giving without belittling the person we're giving to the point where when you give, you hide, because the wall of word for chance, worsak, is is a practice. You get up and you go to the cemetery early in the morning, and whatever you find there is your chance. But the people who give go at night and put it down so that nobody knows who put it there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Coumba, for that end note. And I was thinking and talking to a prima now that after an end note, the only thing we could try to do is to have a footnote, but even then it's not academically supported. So we are not going to keep you here any longer because I think we also want you to go for lunch and also to go to their schedule. So we are going straight into closing.